Early one morning in 2015, a young Muslim couple move into the largest ghetto in Denmark, Gellerupparken in Aarhus. From now on, they will simply be known as Fatma and Mohammed. Their mission is to go undercover in the Muslim community here. For the next 3 months, they will live in an apartment in the ghetto, where they will explore what newly arrived Muslim refugees can expect to be confronted with in this, their new world.
It's very, very strict. They're not allowed to do anything non-Islamic.
Sources in the Muslim community tell us that imams and other religious leaders in the mosques actively prevent Muslims from integrating in Danish society.
Because we are Muslim, we are not Danish. You know, we are not kuffar.
Fatma and Mohammed will try to get as close as possible to the imams in the largest mosques in the Arabian community. They will investigate whether the religious leaders advise in accordance with Danish law or if imams follow their own law, Sharia law. They will also investigate what help imams offer women who are being oppressed and subjected to violence. We are sending Fatma and Mohammed undercover to shed new light on a background of decades of failed integration. Gellerupparken in Aarhus, Denmark's largest ghetto with nearly 7,000 residents. The majority of them are Muslim immigrants. More than 2/3 receive social security benefits from the state. This is where our undercover couple will be living for 3 months. We found Fatma and Mohammed from outside of Denmark. It would be too dangerous to use Danish Muslims because they'd most likely be already known to those with whom they came in contact. Fatma grew up in a strict Sharia-controlled society in the Middle East. But in her early youth, she left for Europe, where she has lived ever since. Fatma wishes to document the dilemmas facing Muslim women living in the West. Mohammed is a former elite soldier. As a devout Muslim, naturally, he can visit the mosques. Before the two of them are sent into the ghetto, it's crucial that they are thoroughly prepared, which is why they will undergo training, far away from prying eyes. To ensure Fatma and Mohammed will not attract attention, it's essential they memorize their cover stories down to the very last detail.
So I am Fatma Hassan. My father was a mechanical engineer.
I'm Mohammed Al-Khatib. My wife, Fatma Hassan, and her family support us to go to Denmark.
You have to be carefully, but you have to be also confident.
The couple receive help from Belgian journalist Hin Fra Ihi, who has been operating undercover in a Muslim environment in the now infamous town of Molenbeek in Brussels.
I found a country in a country, society in a society based on Quranic laws, and they don't seek any contact with non-Muslims.
We should keep aside everything that would identify us or will mess the whole story.
Just to be careful, it's not to be paranoid.
Okay, so this camera is filming through this tiny hole. This is actually recording right now.
Hidden cameras are sewed into a bag and also inside Fatma and Mohammed's clothes. After a couple of weeks' training, Fatma and Mohammed are now ready to move into Gellerupparken to live as a newlywed Muslim couple who've just arrived in Denmark.
When I go to that place, background, it's 100% different. Doesn't look like you are living in Western country.
It's a very closed area, and you have lots of curtains, so you can't see behind. You don't see lots of people outside.
there are approximately 150 mosques all around Denmark. Fatma and Mohammed will go undercover in 8 of the largest mosques, primarily in the Arabian communities in Denmark's 3 largest cities of Copenhagen, Odense and Aarhus. Before sending them into the mosques, we want to know what the religious leaders are saying in public about integration in general, and especially about gender equality. We therefore contact all of the 8 mosques. 4 of them have agreed to conduct an interview with us.
Hvis I kommer med her, så træder vi ind i selve moskeen.
لقد خرج الإسلام من مكة القاحلة الصحراء لينير الدنيا بأكملها.
Hvordan mener du, at muslimer bør leve i Danmark?
De skal leve som en del af det samfund her, det vil sige, kalde sig selv danske muslimer.
Vi er åbne folk, og vi er klar til at samarbejde og være en aktiv folk i samfund.
Der er ikke nogen tilfælde, hvor I ligesom må rådgive folk til at gøre noget, som er ulovligt i Danmark, for eksempel?
Nej, det kan man ikke. Altså, vi er fastholder, at de skal overholde reglerne i Danmark. Og der er ikke en eneste regel, der støtter med islam.
Så der bliver ikke prædiket noget her, eller spredt nogle budskaber her, som er i strid med danske love og regler og værdier?
Det er i hvert fald strengt forbudt. Det er helt sikkert imod vores politik.
Fatma and Mohammed will start investigating one of the largest mosques in Aarhus, the Waqf Mosque. The spokesman declares that they wish Muslims be part of Danish society.
Vi kan godt samarbejde med vores folk her i landet uden problem.
Så altså, I accepterer alle de regler, der gælder i Danmark?
Jamen, vi er nødt til, selvfølgelig.
It's Friday, and Fatma and Mohammed will attend Friday prayers in the Waqf Mosque.
To be ready for an appointment, make sure that my cameras are charged, my cameras are put in the right position.
Fatma and Mohammed cannot go together into the mosque. There are separate entrances, one for men and one for women. Mohammed enters the large prayer room. Here, he's introduced to the leading imam of the mosque, Abu Bilal. Fatma must stay in the women's section, separated from the men and the imam by a curtain. The women's section is also where children are allowed. The women cannot see the imam when he speaks. They listen to him through loudspeakers in the women's section. In a sermon, the imam decries young people who have sex before marriage.
وأمر الناس فرجموها وكان ممن رجمها خالد بن الوليد رضي الله تعالى عنه فتنضخ دمها على وجه خالد فسبها وشتمها فماتت تلك المرأة التائبة وأقيم عليها حد الله جل في علاه.
The imam recounts this story without distancing himself in any way from stoning.
There was a part inside me I felt very scared. Stoning was described in a very graphic way, starting with how to dig a hole, bury the woman up to her breast height, then surround her and stone her with stones until she dies and the blood splashes on people around her. And this was in a Friday speech.
ونطالب الحكومة الدنماركية بالاعتذار.
10 years ago, a serious crisis hit Denmark. The crisis was triggered when a large Danish newspaper chose to publish satirical drawings of the Prophet Muhammad. Because of this, a group of Danish imams traveled to the Middle East to incite anger against Denmark, and their spokesman, Ahmed Akkari, became a significant imam.
Der var mørkt, men der var fuld måne. Og jeg kiggede på månen, og jeg kiggede på Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Og jeg blev ved med at kigge mellem den her fuld måne og med Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
However, since then, Akkari has chosen to turn his back on the Islamic community and has repeatedly expressed criticism of Islamism.
Der er nogen i de muslimske områder, der definerer, hvad det betyder at holde fast i den muslimske tro, og det er moskéerne. Mange unge her og ældre vil meget, meget gerne i god integration med samfundet, og vil gerne, de tager jo på arbejde, og de tager i skoler. Men når de så kommer tilbage, og der er sådan mange, der bor tæt, så er der nogle centre derinde, der bestemmer tonen i, hvad der er rigtigt og hvad der er forkert. Men presser andre til at føje det rigtige, og så må folk følge efter.
Ahmed Akkari tells that in reality, many imams do not want Muslims to integrate in Western society, but instead wish to keep them in a parallel society.
De mennesker arbejder meget med at hælde nogle løse slogans ud i ansigtet på samfundet. Vi går ind for integration. Vi accepterer, at vi bor her i samfundet. Vi overholder reglerne. Det gør de jo i det omfang, det ikke strider med deres egne regler.
Fatma and Mohammed will investigate whether the imams in the Waqf mosque encourage their congregation to become part of Danish society and accept Danish rules and laws. After prayers, the congregation is allowed to ask questions. Should women wish to ask questions, they must write a small note, which they then give to the children to hand to the imam, for women are not allowed into the prayer room. Fatma asks if she can take a job in a workplace where men are present.
Vi siger, at det her det er ikke tilladt. Det her det er ikke tilladt fra 2 punkter. Det første punkt, det er ikke tilladt for en kvinde, der tror på Allah og komme i dag, at hun er sammen med en mand alene, undtagen uden sin mahram. På den anden side generelt det er ikke tilladt at have sammenblanding med køn.
The imam's message is clear. It's not allowed for women to accept a job where men outside of her own family are present. The imam also states that a woman is not allowed to take a job if her husband does not approve.
Loven ud i samfundet gælder ikke rigtigt, fordi muslimernes lov håndhæves, og den står højere end samfundets lov. Det vil sige, at man har ikke nødvendigvis respekt for politiet, fordi politiet er magtens håndlanger derude. Dansk byretsdommer har ikke mere at sige end en imam.
The imam now preaches the importance of parents teaching their children to pray, to do salah.
Hvordan kan vores børn ikke lave salat? Højt Allah på vores søstre. Lad os børn salat. Det er obligatorisk for jer at lære dem, når de er 7 år. Og lad os slå, hvis de ikke laver salat, hvis de er 10 år.
One of the women writes a question for the imam. She wants advice on how to beat her 10-year-old child, and a child takes her note to the imam.
Hvordan slår man børn, når de er 10 år, de klarer sig der? Højt Allah med sig. Wallahi, højt Allah med sig. Det er ikke, at de flade og banken ind i væggen og brække knoglerne på den. Det er heller ikke at tage en kniv og nakken og choppe den. Man slår den som opdragelse og læring, og ikke som vold. Man må ikke slå på ansigtet, man må ikke slå følsomme steder. På den anden side, når man slår, skal man Simpelthen slå lidt på skulderen, men slå på en måde, hvor barnet kan føle, at det, han gjort, er forkert. Det er det, der er meningen med det. Når man bliver slået sådan på en opdragende måde, og man er lille, så vil man godt over. Jeg har fået det der slag, og det rammer en retsligt. Og det er der vigtigt ved det.
At no point did the imam draw attention to the fact that according to Danish law, it is illegal to beat children. Fatma visits the ethnic shopping centre Bazaar West in the centre of the ghetto. She wants to know how newly arrived refugees are being received in the Muslim community. Fatma is invited for tea in one of the stores.
كويسة بلد هنا؟ كويسة. لا هنا هنا
مشكلة والله.
ما برا ما في مسلمين كله كفار.
The woman in the store uses the Arabian word kuffar in referring to non-Muslim Danes. Kuffar is best translated as infidel. In Islam, the word kuffar is used about people who do not follow the laws of God and therefore risk going to hell. The woman invites Fatma to a venue exclusively for Muslims. Fatma is driven to a building in an industrial area that has two large Somalian mosques. Publicly, one of the two mosques is unknown. Fatma therefore has the opportunity to enter an extremely closed Somalian community. As well as the two Somalian mosques, the industrial buildings also house two large Quranic schools. Children meet here for 7 hours a day, every Saturday and Sunday.
The first thing that caught my eye was that everyone was covered up, even very, very little girls aged 4 and 5.
Fatma contacts the leader of the mosque's women's section.
إن شاء الله تعجبك المدرسة. عندنا هذا فصل للأطفال الصغار. في الدور الأول مسجد. يعني الرجال والأولاد يدرسوهم اللغة العربية ويدرسوهم القرآن.
The leader of the women's section offers Fatma a place as a volunteer teacher in the Quranic school. To learn about the place, Fatma sits in with the class for the youngest girls. Here, two of the older students relate how girls should behave in public.
Og den værdi er så jeres pligt, ligesom skal, at det ikke hele verden skal se det. Selvfølgelig faktisk en god ejer, hvor en pige, som råber højt, det bliver sammenlignet med det samme lyd, som et æsel laver. Så det er det samme, som I lyder som, når I råber højt, eller I griner lige sammen med jeres veninder.
فرد شاقة فهيدا بغوغيتا صلى الله عليه وسلم سباس ناو
عبد الله بن عبد المطلب بن هاشم
ما شاء الله ما اسم الإسلام ها مسلمين ده ما لا سبعين من كأي كلابة لا منسية ما شاء الله ستنو
The leader is cursing a girl because she has prioritized doing homework in her Danish school instead of learning this week's Quranic verses.
قالت لي كان عندي امتحانات وما حققت ما قرأت قرآن لمدة أسبوع وما كنت أصلي زينا. قلت لها هذا غلط، هذا وسواس الشيطان. بعدين لو سمعتي بتقولي في صدق والحين يوسوس بس بدي تسمعيه. البنت أخذنا كله.
It's very strict. It's very, very strict. Strict to the level that children from a very young age have to completely cover up. They're not allowed to do anything non-Islamic, which include clapping, listening to music, not wearing the hijab, not praying, and lots of other things. I wasn't expecting that you would find such a strict environment in the mid of an open and liberal, democratically run country.
Fatma and Mohammed want to investigate if imams recommend Muslims to socialize with ethnic Danes. They seek out one of the largest mosques in Denmark and meet one of Denmark's most respected imams, Mohammed al-Barazi, who has a PhD in Islamic studies. To approach the subject, Fatma and Mohammed say they are invited to a birthday party at a female Danish friend's house, but are unsure as to whether or not they should attend.
بدنا نخرج عن تقليد الغربيين بعادات وتقاليد نحن مأمورين بهذا الشيء. يعني صلي بالبلد زمان 23 سنة يعني نعرف عاداتهم ونعرف ما يجري يعني أشياء فما لازم يعني ننخرط يعني بعاداتهم وتقاليدهم اللي مخالفة للشرع. يعني إلا أنا أنتوا يعني شو اسمه تلاقوا بيئة إسلامية. لو أنت بشكل ما تلاقي بيئة إسلامية وين بدك تروح؟ على الكنيسة؟ على المقاهي؟ على الكازينو؟ أما الآن بمثل هذا الوقت اللي نحن عم نفتح البلاد الآن صار يعني الجاليات المسلمين الآن المسلمين في أوروبا يعني عدد كبير جدا جدا من المسلمين الآن بهذا الشكل الحمد لله. أنا أول ما جيت على البلد قبل 23 سنة كان عددنا 55,000 55,000 الآن عددنا 300,000 300,000 الآن عدد المسلمين. لذلك خلاصة الكلام الإقامة من غير ذوبان فما بهالشرط من غير ذوبان في المجتمع.
Mohammed al-Barazi therefore advises Fatma and Mohammed against attending the Danish birthday and warns them against assimilating into Danish society. Fatma and Mohammed have now lived in Gellerupparken for a month. By now they are familiar faces in the area and are able to walk around unnoticed within the Arabian community.
Now that I have lived in the community for 1 month and so, I see many things differently. People are putting some boundaries at the beginning just to get to know you. But once they feel that you're part of them, once you look like them and they trust you, they're very welcoming. And you can melt in the community very easily.
Fatma discovers that there are multiple closed study groups in the Waqf Mosque where the Imam instructs the congregation in the correct interpretation of Islam. These study groups are reserved to a small inner circle centered around the Imam and his wife.
It takes a little while to get into the study groups, especially the closed ones. I had to spend some time just visiting the mosque and observing the general structure, who's senior, who to talk to.
Fatma manages to become familiar with Imam Abu Bilal's wife, who invites Fatma to one of the closed study groups.
The Imam sitting in a main desk and in a half a circle surrounded by a number of women, some of them sitting on chairs on the couch, and some of them sitting on the floor. Some of them also had their kids around.
The Imam's class teaches that in the ideal Islamic state, not behaving as a good Muslim is punishable with death.
لذلك انتبهوا يا بنات، فإذا لا يحل دم امرئ مسلم إلا بإحدى ثلاث، يعني الثيب الزاني، المرأة المتزوجة أو المطلقة، مو مرأة، امرأة مش بنت، زنت ترجم حتى الموت. والنفس بالنفس، يعني القاتل إنسان قتل مؤمن هذا يقتل، والمارق من الدين يعني المرتد هذا لازم يقتل. أو استنكار ناكر صيام، أنا منكر صيام بقول لك أنا ما مقتنع بالصيام، هذا حكمه كافر. إذا أصر وما بده يصوم يقتل. لا تطبق في الدنمارك يا شباب.
So the Imam went into details about how and when you kill. It included also parts about how you stone, when you stone, the conditions under you stone a woman, mainly a woman, and just giving lots of details about that. There was also sort of a quiz to test if people got how to kill others.
وطلقها زوجها وراحت زنت، هل حكمها نفسه قتل ولا جلد؟ جلد. ليش ما هي كانت؟ حتى لو ما كانت متزوجة حكمها القتل. فقط البنت اللي ما تزوجت أبدا وقعت في الزنا هذه الجلد.
The leading Imam Abu Bilal makes it clear that women committing adultery must be lashed or stoned. Even though he says this is not practiced in Denmark, at no time does he distance himself from that form of punishment.
The general environment in the setting was very relaxed, which was also scary in a way. People were very relaxed, they were answering the questions about killing, responding very naturally, very normally. Kids were running around, there were some laughs here and there, and it seems that the strong language wasn't affecting anyone really. It was just something that people are used to hear.
Now we will investigate how the imams treat women who seek help in the mosques if they are being oppressed and subjected to violence from their husbands. Do the imams advise using Danish rules and values, or solely refer to Sharia law? Outwardly, mosque spokesmen, such as those here in the newly built mosque in Copenhagen, say they are working for gender equality.
Så man vil ikke se en kvinde komme her og blive behandlet dårligere end en mand eller blive undertrykt i islams navn?
I det her sted tænker du på? Nej, det vil man helt klart ikke gøre. Heller ikke andre steder. Altså, jeg tror ikke, at der er andre steder, andre moskéer, som her i København eller i resten af Danmark, som vil undertrykke kvinden i islams navn.
To find out if the imams are advising in accordance with Danish norms of equality, we have made a cover story for Fatma to tell. That she has problems getting pregnant, and her husband therefore wants to take another wife, and this has caused them to argue, which has often led to serious violence. Fatma will therefore seek advice from the imams and religious leaders of mosques. She will start her research with the leading imam of the Waqf Mosque in Aarhus, Abu Bilal.
It took me lots of energy, lots of psychological and mental energy to prepare myself to have the right expressions, the right body language, and just to be into the role. I went in accompanied by Abu Bilal's wife. أنا وجوزي بقالنا فترة يعني كان بيناتنا نقاشات يعني نقاشات ومرات بنختلف يعني في النقاشات والفترة الأخيرة كمان هو بقى يعصب بقى عنيف شوية كمان وبيضرب. إيه و أنا بقى لي يعني الفترة الأخيرة كمان يعني بقى ما عندي يعني بيضرب مرات حتى لما يكون في علامات يعني عندي علامات في وجهي. إيه
عنف يعني.
إيه يعني هو بيضرب بإيده يعني هو. إيه فالفترة الأخيرة كمان أنا ما بقى عندي يعني ما عندي رغبة في العلاقة الزوجية الخاصة، وهو كمان بقى يعصب زيادة عشان كده وبقول لنا هذا لا يجوز يعني. فأنا ما عارفة أنا شو أعمل، وكنت عايزة يعني أعرف هل من حقي إنه أنا أرفض إنه يعني أرفض العلاقة الزوجية الخاصة لو بقى ما عندي رغبة ومتضايقة منه.
ترفض في الفراش.
إيه.
لا يجوز، لا يجوز، لأنه أي امرأة دعاها زوجها إلى الفراش فأبت فباتت الملائكة تلعنها. وهذا أنت انتبهي، هذا أنت ممكن تعرض زوجك الآن للفتنة. يعني الآن لما أنت ترفضي وهو طلبك وأنت رفضت مرة ومرتين وعشرة وعشرين، الآن زوجك بدأ يلف على الغير. يعني شو أنت عارف في بلد كلها فتن وكلها مصايب والأمور متوفرة، وممكن الإنسان يفعل الفاحشة بكل بساطة، وأنت الآن عم تؤذيه يعني تدفعيه للحرام دفع لما أنت ترفض.
Fatma now tells him that due to her husband's violence, she has confided in a female Danish friend, who then advised her to go to the police with her problem.
لا هذا قانون عندهم الدنماركيين. أنت عارفة هذه المسألة إذا دخلت فيها البوليس خربتي بيت زوجك وأذيتي زوجك أكثر. إذا المسألة عندك وصلت لهذا المستوى، يعني أنت يعني وصل أفكارك تأتيكي إنه أتصل بالبوليس حتى يحطوا لك. أنت عارفة قضية الضرب، المرأة تضرب من قبل رجل حكمها كبير عند البوليس أو عند الدولة، فأنت ما تكوني أنت مانعيته شهوته وبنفس الوقت حطيتيه في السجن. وزوجك رجل يعني صالح يعني عنده دين، فكونه عنده دين الآن حيبحث على امرأة أخرى يتزوجها ثانية. ليش؟ لأنه ما عم بيجد راحته معك، يعني ما عم بيأخذ حاجته منك، فهذا حصل حقه شرعا، وما بحق لك إنك تنكري هذا الشيء. حقه شرعا إنه يتزوج غيرك.
وما من حقي أرفض يا مولانا، يعني ما من حقي أرفض لأنه هو فعليا هسه. إيه إيه
لا ما من حق، والله ممكن يكون خير لك. لأنه انتبهي أختي، الآن أنت فكري في المستقبل. الآن لو أنت الآن طلقتي، طيب، وأكيد ما بيجوز شرعا تبقي لحالك في البيت لحالك. تعرف الشيطان فتن، الشيطان خطوة يأتيك الشيطان خطوة ويأسك من رحمة الله حتى وقعك في حرام. لا أختي، ابقي مع زوجك، ارضي بما قدر الله لك، استخيري الله سبحانه وتعالى وشوفي حتجد الخير بإذن. لكن
The Imam tells Fatma that not only can she not refuse to have sex with her violent husband, but that she must also accept him marrying another wife, and that she shouldn't contact the police, even if she's subjected to violence again.
It was just so hard to hear that in this very straightforward way. Not only that I have to accept being abused and accept living with the second wife, but also that I'm not worth anything as an individual, independent woman, and that I always have to be someone's. So I really felt bad. I felt very bad when I got out from there.
Fatma now wants to ask the same questions of the two Somalian mosques in Aarhus.
I got into the women's section and I was introduced to the head teacher. On one of the corners, there was a chair behind a curtain that seemed to be made just to hide the chair. And the Imam sat on the chair and started teaching Quran. So you can't see who's behind the curtain, and you're not supposed to see because there should be complete segregation.
The women in the Somalian mosques do not have access to a personal meeting with an imam since there is complete gender separation. Instead, those in charge of counselling are the leaders of the women's sections.
After the study group was done, I asked to speak to the head teacher privately. Do I have to obey him? Do I have to give him, like, I have to speak with him even...
That's right. What he's saying, that you have to give him what he wants, that's right.
I have a good Danish friend. She's very good. She's very understanding, very respectful. She said I should call the police and go from the house, leave the house.
That's not good, because we are Muslim, we are not Danish, you know, we are not kuffar.
But he says it is his right to have another wife if he wants to, so he might get another wife.
Okay. You know, our religion, a man can have 4 wives, if he can. If he has, he can provide, and both. Can he provide you?
He can, yes.
So he can, if he can provide, and he can. So it is allowed.
So what do you think I should do?
I think you talk to him. You say why you are not wanting to sleep with him. Okay. Tell him why. Okay. Maybe you say to him, if you beat me again, you will know. I will tell police. Maybe he says that man, don't do that, please. Okay. You pray, right?
Yeah.
So pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask him to guide you and to guide your husband and to make you happy, and maybe do something that makes your husband also happy. In nice way, yeah.
Okay.
Nice way, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, wa alaykum salam. But who's respect to him, even if he beats you, because he will respect you again. Okay. You know.
I'll do my best, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Jazakallah khair.
Fatma also seeks advice in the other Somalian mosque and receives the same answers there.
If you're gonna go with first impressions, then everyone there is nice, really nice. But it doesn't matter, because I was still sent back to my abuser, and I was still told to take the blame for everything happening.
During the 10 years Ahmed Akari was part of the inner circle of Danish imams, he experienced a number of counseling situations.
Der er utallige eksempler, hvor imamer kan rådgive imod dansk lov. Men jeg har hørt mange imamer svare folk, at det ikke er forbudt at have sort arbejde. De kan sige til forældre, at det er okay at slå dit barn, hvis du er ved at lære børnene at bede, og de nægter eller ikke vil føje dig. En kvinde, der er oprørsk, skal sættes på plads. Vold og bigami er forbudte i Danmark, men de er jo ikke forbudte i forhold til dele af Sharia-loven. Derfor vil en imam have svært ved klart og tydeligt at tilslutte sig den danske lov, for eksempel. Det er primært med udgangspunkt i, at Sharia-loven siger, at man forbyder at tillade.
At the Tauba Mosque, spokesman Imran Shah assures that the mosque offers advice in full accordance with Danish rules and customs.
For det islamiske trossamfund så opfordrer vi jo alle folk til at forholde sig til den danske lovgivning og gøre det, som den danske lovgivning den påbyder.
Fatma has an appointment with the leader of the women's section of Tauba Mosque, Abdallah.
The mosque was very busy because there was a burial. After that was done, I met Abdullah and we took 2 chairs and sat on a side.
Fatma conveys her cover story, that she no longer wants to have sex with her violent husband.
أنا ولا هو بس كم الحاجة دي بالقلب مش كده يعني الواحد
شوفي حبيبتي انت هي صح هلا هو له حقوق عندك هذا ما تخليه هذا بعصبه أكثر وبجننه أكثر إذا
حتى ضد رغبتي
هو حتى ضد رغبتي لأنه هو عنده هاي شغلة مثل يعني عفوا يعني كيف الشغلة الحيوانية يعني مش خارج الإرادة. فهمتي شلون؟
هو عنده حق إنه يزوج زوجة ثانية؟
له حق يعني بالشرع له حق.
بس إذا أنا ما بقدر أجيب يعني وما من حقه يزوج زوجة ثانية نقول الاثنين على زوجته وعلى عصمته.
At no time does Abdallah even mention that polygamy is illegal in Denmark. According to Ahmed Akari, the Imam also plays an important role as a judge in conflicts between husband and wife.
Sker der et oprør eller en kvinde, der ligesom siger, nu vil jeg ikke finde mig i det her mere, så kan hun hurtigt blive stemplet som en oprørsk kvinde. Vi har haft mange eksempler på det. Grundlæggende svarer en imam, at en kvinde skal følge sin mands råd, eller det han anbefaler. Fordi i kraft af deres ægteskab, der skal hun følge ham i medgang og modgang, og han har en naturlig magt over hende.
Fatma receives identical answers from the Imam Mohammed al-Barasi in the other large mosque in Copenhagen. He even says that it may become necessary to punish a woman with beatings.
إذا أنا ما طيحته في العلاقة الزوجية الخاصة إنه هذا من حقه وإنه هذا نشوز وهذا يجوز فيه الضرب بالتأديب.
يعني هذه فيها وجهة نظر لأنه يعني الرجل حينما تكون له يعني رغبة بزوجته يعني المفروض للمرأة يعني أن تستجيب. كمان الرجل يعني لازم يراعي ظروف المرأة. إذا كان في ضرب يعني هذا ما ينبغي أن يكون أبدا. يعني ممكن أن يكون في حالات يعني مش مع المرأة العادية كذا، المرأة اللي يظهر منها الفجور والعياذ بالله، اللي كذا اللي بيسيء إلى سمعة الأسرة والعائلة وكذا، هذاك له ظرفه الخاص.
Fatma visits Imam Abu Hassan in the main mosque in Denmark's third largest city, Odense. Here she gets the same answers to questions about women's rights.
ما اتصل يعني ما حد على اللي قال هذا في الوضع الحالي ما حاول ادخل البوليس في القصه.
غلط اذا بدخل البوليس، انت بتوقع بمشكله وهو بيوقع بمشكله ما بتنتهي.
طيب هذا معناه اني اطاوعه في العلاقه الزوجيه الخاصه كمان؟
نعم الطوعيه بما امر الله يعني هالامر.
طيب يا شيخ هو من حقه يتزوج ثاني علي؟
هو من حقه.
We now want to investigate the view on women's rights in Denmark's largest mosque in Copenhagen, the Grand Mosque, which makes much out of being moderate, modern and Western-orientated.
Jeg har aldrig haft den opfattelse, at islam undertrykker kvinden, tværtimod. Jeg tror, at kvinden har flere rettigheder end os mænd, altså som muslimer.
I have an appointment with Imam, with the Imam. Okay. Where can I find him?
He's above. We have just prayed the Asr.
I wait for him here.
Fatma has arranged a personal meeting with the leading Imam of the Grand Mosque in Copenhagen, Mohammed Bilal. Fatma now asks the same 3 questions she asked in the other mosques. She tells how, on multiple occasions, she's been exposed to serious violence from her husband.
يعني انت تدخل مسألة العلاج يفترض انه يصبر عليك، ياخذ وقت يصبر عليك، هي تعمل خطوات انه يشجعك. ومن الحالة النفسية لها دور كبير انه يصبر عليك. هذا الامر الاول. الامر الثاني اذا ما حصل الشيء، ما بقي كما هو عنيف ما إلى ذلك، ما تمشي للشرطة.
طيب هو كمان أهله شافوا له زوجة ثانية، هو واحد جزء من الخلافات إنه أنا عندي مشاكل ما بقدر أجيب أولاد، هو من حقه هلا يتجوز فيني؟
الأصل إنه هو يحكم عليك، وأنا نصحت. إذا أراد أن يتزوج فليتزوج.
Fatma has now visited all of the 8 chosen mosques in Denmark, only to be given virtually the same message in each of them. That even if her husband beats her, she shouldn't contact the police. That she cannot deny him sex, and that he has the right to marry up to 4 wives. After Fatma's visit to the Grand Mosque in Copenhagen, we returned to confront the spokesman with the imam's answers.
Hun havde faktisk en taske med til den her samtale, hvor der var et kamera i. Mm-hmm. Og hun har givet os en optagelse fra samtalen, som jeg godt vil have lov til at vise dig.
Ja.
عندنا عيال ولا أي حاجة وكمان هي
الأمر الثاني إذا ما حصل شيء ما فقط كما هو عادي ما إلى ذلك ما تمشي الشغل.
هو من حقه هلا يتجوز مني؟
Yes. Hvordan hænger det sammen med, at du siger, at moskeen her går ind for ligestilling, og at kvinden ofte er bedre stillet end manden?
Så det er en form for terapi, vil jeg sige, at hjælpe folk, hvordan man kommer ud af problemerne.
Hvordan hjælper han hende ud af problemerne ved at sige, hvis din mand fortsætter med at slå, så skal du ikke gå til politiet. Din mand må have flere koner. Du skal fortsætte med at have sex med din mand, selvom du ikke har lyst, og i øvrigt må han også godt forhindre dig i at tage et arbejde.
Jeg tror, det han prøver på, det er at så vidt muligt at prøve på at opbevare eller få den her familie til at fortsætte. Jeg tror også på samme måde, hvis en mand har fået den her rådgivning, så vil vedkommende have fået det samme at vide.
Men hvis vi nu forestiller os, at det var en mand, der var kommet, ville han så have fået at vide, at din kone må gerne forhindre, at du tager et arbejde, din kone må gerne gifte sig med 4 mænd på en gang?
Jamen, det vil man ikke få at vide, fordi det er jo ikke sådan, det er. Altså, en kone kan ikke gifte sig med 4. Og det er der mange grunde til. Og en mand er forpligtet til at forsørge hende, så manden er i det tilfælde dårligt stillet, vil jeg sige. At han er forpligtet til at forsørge sit hjem. Så...
Fatma and Mohammed's assignment in Denmark is now almost over. Their final task is to investigate how the religious leaders respond to the fact that Fatma wants a divorce from her husband. A husband who is both violent and wants to take another wife. Fatma calls the imam in the large Salam mosque in Gallerudparken in Aarhus. A mosque that's publicly known for not only being moderate, but also for its close cooperation with the Danish authorities.
Der er ikke nogen tilfælde, hvor I ligesom må rådgive folk til at gøre noget, som er ulovligt i Danmark?
Nej, det kan man ikke. Altså, vi er fastholder, at de skal overholde reglerne i Danmark. Og der er ikke en eneste regel, der støder med islam.
It was a very tight appointment because it was just before the sunset prayers, the Maghrib prayers. We had about 12 minutes to go through everything. أنا عايز أشوف يعني هل أنا كامرأة مسلمة من حقي إني إذا أنا ما راغبة فيه.
إذا ما راغبة فيه أو لا تشتغلي في الطلاق ولا تمنعي عن الفراش.
يعني هلا في الفراش أنا.
يعني هو إحنا لأنه هو شوي ظالم حاسه أنا، ولكن الأصل ألا تمتنع. بس أنا أنصحك لا تروح للدنماركيين.
طيب.
إذا أنت ما عدت تقدر تعيشي معه فالجئ إلى هون عندنا إحنا لجنة شرعية ممكن تعمل لك خلع.
طيب.
وتنفصلوا.
طيب. والبوليس ولا هي يعني ما اروح
نصيحة بس يعني طالما في ممكن مسلمين يساعدوك فلا نلجأ إلى حكم الوضعي هذا، لأنه الحكم الوضعي يعني ربنا نهانا عن الاحتكام إليه. كيف الأولى أنه نحل مشاكلنا إسلامية إذا استطعنا.
وانا لو انا عايزه طلاق شرعي اتصل فيك ولا اعمل؟
طبعا فينا هون. احنا عندنا مجلس مشايخ 5 مشايخ نجلس كل يوم احد بعد صلاه الظهر اذا في مشكله نعالجها، فانت ممكن نستدعيك يوم الاحد وتاتي ان شاء الله.
The mosques publicly deny that they have specific Sharia councils where imams settle disputes. But Fatma and Mohammed have an appointment with the Sharia Council in the Salam Mosque in the center of Gellerupparken. Its council will decide if Fatma may be granted a divorce.
We decided on a cover story. We went through all the details about it. We spoke about the details on our marriage contract and the general questions you would usually be asked in such a setting. We went through everything before we went there for our appointment.
Inside the mosque, Fatma and Mohammed are greeted by the Imam Radwan Mansour.
عندنا قضية نشتغل فيها، كنا متوقعين نخلص قبل صلاة الظهر، لكن ما خلصت، فممكن تستني 10 دقائق ربع ساعة. هنا وصلت الظهر تقرأ القرآن، لما هذا المناديل.
So it seems like something people know about, people come to, and that they are also prepared for. The whole setting, the whole environment there seems to look like something that happens on a regular basis, not something that was a one-off.
Fatma now presents her case to the Sharia Council, where through Sharia law, 3 imams settle disputes between Muslims.
كل واحد فينا بياخذ موقف يعني. بعد ذاك النقاش اشتد وهو كمان بقى عنيف، بقى بيضرب.
لا ما بكون شيء الا لا.
وحتى عن
خط احمر مين كان يكون؟ ان شاء الله يكون ابي هاي اللي خلفني بقول له ابي خط احمر. لا.
وبعد كده اختلفنا برضه، يعني انا بقيت متضايقه منه، بقيت العلاقه الزوجيه الخاصه يعني بقيت انا ما عندي رغبه، يعني ما عندي رغبه. ما بتعمل. ايه يعني كل واحد فينا انا بروح يعني ما بننام في نفس الفراش، وهو كمان بقى يتضايق اكثر ويقول له لا، يقول لي لا هذا حقي الشرعي والمفترض انه يعني حتى لو بيناتنا خلافات هذا حقه الشرعي والمفترض اعرف بيه. بعد ذاك الخلافات كمان زادت شويه لانه هو اهله اللي يقولوا هو عايز يزوج ثاني، واهله اللي يقولوا زوجة في المانيا.
يا جماعه والله حرام عليكم، يعني انتم الحمد لله رب العالمين متفاهمين وبتحبوا بعضكم ورايدين بعضكم، شغلات ثانويه انا بعتبرها.
هو عايز يتزوج واحدة ثانية، أنا ما بدي.
إحنا من واجبنا يا أختي نقول لك إنه يجوز للرجل، وأنا قلت لك هذا الكلام، إنه يتزوج ثاني وثالث ورابع.
أنا بدي طلاق، إذا هو حيتزوج أنا بدي أنفصل.
إنه أنت تطلب طلاق لهذا السبب فلا يجوز
شرعا.
بس يا شيخنا انا ما بدي، انا خلاص يعني خنقتها وحاسه انه يعني انا كنت مكرمه عند اهلي، ما بقبل بحاجه زي دي، ما عندي رغبه، حتى لو هو عايز يتزوج، لو عايز اي حاجه انا ما عايزها.
مضبوطه ما في مشكله.
ممكن طالبة تعطيه شانس، بدناش نفرح الشيطان كثير شيء، ممكن تعطيه شانس.
انا بدي انفصل.
The imams talk to Fatma and Mohammed separately before the Sharia Council is ready with their decision.
نرجع اليوم كأنه ما صار شيء وما نتناقش عن الماضي نهائيا.
ابدوا صفحة شو طبختوا، شو تروقتوا، شو عملتوا، ما استطعتوا بترجعوا ساعتها.
ما استطعتوا تعرفوا والله رب العالمين
تكونوا انتم كمان عذرتوا امام الله.
طاقوا محل بس النار من اول مره واحده.
During the meeting at the Sharia Council, Fatma asks for a divorce more than 10 times. She is, however, sent back to the uncertainty of whether or not her husband will continue to be violent. Fatma and Mohammed have now completed their assignment in Denmark. For 3 months, they've been very involved with the parallel Muslim society in Denmark's 3 largest cities. With the use of hidden cameras, they have documented what happens behind the veil in 8 mosques in Denmark.
Most of these mosques are very strict, but more importantly and more dangerously, is that they play a very significant role culturally, socially, and politically. They are not only places to pray, they're places where people get education, they're places where people socialize and get advice, they're places where people interact, and it seems that they're having their own system that they're ruling with that very clearly contradicts with the mainstream system.